6:34. And in attendance, here at the meeting, myself and Joe Fogno, and the commissioners coming in by Zoom is Peter. We're expecting Emmanuel to join the meeting, but he'll get here when he gets here. And again, he said he would come in via Zoom. Sitting at the table, we have Kathy Mogano and Myrna Boston. Excuse me, I'm just...
It's okay.
You know. And the newest member of our team is Letitia.
Nice to meet you.
And she's going to be our new on-site person here at the Royal, spending most of her time here at the Royal. Although between the two of them, we'll cover the Royal and the Heights as we need to. Up on the screen, we have Matt Anderson and Renee, and they're from Imagineers. And then we have residents from both the Heights and the Royal here in the audience joining us this evening. So, let's see, what do we got on the agenda? The minutes from the meeting of April 2022. Without objection, the minutes will be approved as submitted. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Property Manager's Report. Myrna, Tisha, what do you got for us?
So for both properties, we're doing the air filter replacements, which we began at the Heights, and now we're going to start the Royal next month. So far, nothing much going on for both properties, and Kathy will give you the sample update.
Nothing else going on?
No.
Good. Moving right along.
Both properties.
Real quickly, just a question. The neighbor of the Heights, everything's fine with the clean out that's supposed to be done? And the neighbor's happy?
Yes.
Okay, good.
For West
Thank
End.
you.
This was an issue that came up again. This is not a new issue. This has come up in the past. There's a fence, there's a wall, there's a space in between, and leaves and trash collect in that space. And we have our landscapers clean it at regular intervals. Apparently the interval wasn't quick enough for the one neighbor, so we got on top of it, but that's been taken care of. Okay.
Joe?
Yes?
One question. What's to happen here in a month? Air filtration?
Air filters,
Yes,
we're going to be replaced.
The air filters for the circulation system will be replaced. Now, this is one of these ongoing maintenance things. We don't wait until something happens. They get replaced routinely, whether they need it or not. And in most cases, they need it. But we take the old ones out, get rid of them, put new ones in. We have finished at the Heights.
Yes, we are.
So we finished, so we'll be starting in the next week here at the Royal. But every apartment gets done. Moving right along.
Okay. Who's on the sound?
Kathy, give us an update on the sound project here at the Royal.
Okay, well, we have made tremendous progress since your last meeting.
Yes.
As of today, 26 out of 29 units have been completed. The soundproofing has been a complete success in terms of eliminating the previous sound issues that residents were having in between apartments. There will be one additional phase of the project, which actually is going to start tomorrow. There are 10 apartments. After all is said and done, there will be 10 apartments whose bathroom wall backs up to a wall that has not been soundproofed. So Viking is going to go in and make that, do that soundproofing in those 10 apartments. It will really not be an inconvenience to the tenants. They'll go in on 3 consecutive days. First day for 2 hours, then probably a half hour each other day. And then that will bring us to the end of the project. It's been very challenging with so many different moving parts, but I did want to mention that we had many residents who really went above and beyond in terms of helping with the packing and getting organized and preparing for the movers. And I wanted to mention it because it was such a help in making the project go that much more smoothly. And also it's been a pleasure to work with Viking. Those guys have been great. So that's where we are. We're looking at finishing probably the end of July.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? We're satisfied with what we did was what needed to be done. We're satisfied with the results of what we did. Yes?
My understanding is that there are some outstanding insurance claims that are being processed for damage, minor damage, there may be major damage, things that were lost, broken, and that's going to be handled through the insurance company, or how's it going to be handled?
Well, as a matter of fact, today I confirmed the way that we will be handling it, and the residents involved, their issue will be resolved within the week, I would imagine. I certainly will contact them tomorrow and let them know how their claim will be handled.
You prefer everything to Kathy and she will handle the things.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, no, it's inevitable that in the course of moving.
Yeah,
It's
all
gonna happen,
the
yeah.
moving parts, but
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
things. Fortunately, no major problems. It was all minor stuff. But we'll get it all.
No, and
We'll get it to
actually have all been resolved.
Yeah. Okay. And I can't see their pictures yet, but Emmanuel and Todd have joined us,
Oh, perfect.
or are in the process of joining us.
That's it, there you go.
Hello, Todd.
He is.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on the soundproofing? So we can expect sometime by the end of the month to see the pods taken out of the parking lot. We have no further use of them.
Yes.
We used them to do what we had to do, and those will get removed.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll be shutting down the hotel units.
The hotel units will...
They will have to retrieve the furniture.
Yeah, right, all that's rented furniture's got to be moved out, and we have tenants lined up to move into those units.
Yeah, we have applicants already processed.
Well, they're already processed and ready to go, so we can expect over the next few weeks that there will be new people moving into the building.
Perfect.
And that will fill us. We will
We'll
not
go
have,
back to 55.
we'll be back to 55 units all filled up.
Yes.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Moving right along, do we have anything else under old business? I'm not aware of anything else. Anybody got something I missed? New business. Well,
I think we're good. I did just want to say one thing. I did want to give, credit where credit is due. I think Captain Mulgarno has done a heck of a job
Yes.
with these residents. And we should all give her a call out there. She put up with, quite a bit. And those residents that worked with her made it go so smoothly, and we are so grateful to them. And, maybe we can have a little bit of a party when all is said and done.
this was clearly a team effort. This thing got off to a sputtering start. It took forever. We thought we were going to get started earlier than we did. It took a long time to get it organized and finally get it moving. But once
We finished strong, John.
Well, once it got moving, it moved very efficiently, and a lot of
Yes, it
that. Two things that contributed to that. One was Kathy.
Yes.
Because Kathy stayed right on top of it and made sure things kept going, and the tenants cooperated.
It actually,
Yes.
we actually had to say that Kathy will be leaving us after this project. So me personally, I'm truly gonna miss you because she's been a big part of my process with property management right now, and I appreciate you. So it's definitely gonna be.
And for those of you who have worked with Kathy, let it be known, let there be no question We twisted everything we could twist to try to convince her to stay.
Yeah.
To know
Oh,
that
yeah, you did.
this was not a mild effort. There was an awful lot of pressure put on poor Kathy to say stay.
Retirement is too good.
He's re-retiring.
I can't say that I blame him. Okay, moving right along. We have nothing. Do we have anything else under old business? We've covered everything. New business. Anybody got anything under new business? Well, actually, I do have one that should technically be under old business. We had talked some time ago that here at the Royal we would put a bird feeder outside the community room. Now that we have the community room back open again and we're going to be using this facility, I've ordered the necessary pieces, and sometime within the before the end of July, we'll get something installed out
Are
here.
you gonna be hanging them up or just?
I'll put a pole on the ground and put a feeder on the top.
Yeah.
And it'll be something nice. It won't be, it'll be nice. Okay?
Joe, one other thing, it's kind of old, it's kind of new business, but the widening of West Avenue up by the Heights, is there any update as to when that project's going to begin?
I was going to cover that under new business because essentially it is really new business.
Okay.
I got contacted several times in the last week or so by Public Works and by Planning and Zoning. They are, if anybody's driven by the intersection of Norotan and West Avenue, you'll notice that there's some additional tree work going on across the street from our property. They've taken another big tree out. They are going to take a couple of the smaller trees that are on our property, get rid of those, and they're hoping that sometime before the end of the summer, we will, in fact, see that project come to fruition. The one issue that came up that's a bit of a change, we had thought the grading of our property down to the road would be a little shallower than it's going to be a little steeper than we had expected, because when they looked at the original plans, they didn't allow for the sidewalk that they are going to put in. There will be a sidewalk installed on West Avenue from Norotan Avenue all the way down to Fairfield Avenue. And so they need to take enough to put a level sidewalk in. They got to take in the property, which means that the slope of what remains on our property will be a little steeper than they had expected. One suggestion that was made, if you go and look at that corner, there's two trees a little farther down West Avenue that were put in at the time all the renovations were done. They were discussing whether or not, because of that increased slope, whether they should put a small retaining wall in front of those trees. And the answer was that rather than put retaining walls in, we would either relocate the trees or replace the trees a little farther up the hill where the slope isn't so bad, because anything we do in the way of, even though they're small retaining walls, just makes the maintenance of the property for the landscapers that much more difficult. It's one more obstacle they have to work their way around. So it is possible to move those trees farther up the hill or to replace them with new trees. In addition, for those of you that are not aware, we got paid. The Housing Authority got a check from the state of Connecticut for the easement that we granted them on West Avenue. The board had voted a long time ago not to want to get paid for that easement. What we wanted was to take the money and put it into the landscaping of that corner so that that corner would be landscaped appropriately. So we are coordinating with Public Works to make sure that we took the money the way the rules are written on these types of easements, we had no choice but to take the check. We put that money aside. Before the landscaper is finished with that project, we'll give them the money back and make sure it's put into additional landscaping for that corner. And again, the corner, when they're finished with this project, there will be a left turn lane in all four sides of that intersection. Two on the road now, all four. You'll be able to, and the reason for this, the reason for doing this is because currently, if somebody wants to make a left-hand turn while the light is red, anybody who wants to make a right-hand turn is blocked behind it. So by putting a left turn lane in, we hope some of that blockage will disappear. And
You're gonna have more traffic with those new buildings.
well,
Those new apartments.
I would not want to sit here and speculate on what the traffic situation is going to look like on any of these intersections when all of these buildings are filled. Suffice it to say, it will not be the same as it is today. What it will look like is anybody's guess. But this project has been in the works for 3 years now. It would have been completed last summer if it hadn't been for the virus. So we're finally getting caught up on getting this project done. But it should help a lot to eliminate the waiting line on West Avenue to get onto the road now.
Joe, on the landscaping of the, I am somewhat familiar with that corner. If the angle, if you will, of the lawn, the grounds are going to be that much steeper, should we not possibly look into planting flowering shrubs? So, you know, if it's too steep, it won't be mowable, and have something which kind of camouflages that look and make it, you know, something of flowers in the spring or some time of year, azaleas or rhodiola, something that would look better and be better for maintenance long term.
Peter, we're going to really play this by ear until they get on site and start relaying out that corner. We can get all the drawings we want and still not have a really good handle on what that corner is going to look like when this is all done. And
I understand that, but we should probably let Public Works know that we have options, and we're open to suggestions to make sure it's it looks nice and it's maintainable.
I talked to Darien just last week, and the comment I left with him was that we do not want a maintenance nightmare on that corner. We want the corner to look nice, we want it to look well landscaped, but we want it to be maintainable. If the slope is so steep, as Peter says, that it's difficult to get lawnmowers to go up and down that slope, then it doesn't make sense to just plant grass there. We need to look at alternatives. But what that slope is going to really look like until they go over there and start digging it up and laying it out is a little hard to predict. But we're prepared, and we've told Public Works that the one thing we don't want to have happen is we do not want them to hire a landscaper to work on those corners, think they have finished the job without discussing with us what it should look like, and then have to hire another landscaper to go in there and fix it after the fact. You're going to have it all torn up, let's do it right the first time. So they're very much aware of the fact that we want to be involved in what that corner ultimately looks like when we're finished. And again, it isn't just that it's going to look right, it has to be, we have to be able to maintain it. If they put something in that's gorgeous for one season, but you can't maintain it after that, that doesn't make an awful lot of sense. So, and then we're also going to have to see what the sidewalk looks like. We know there's going to be a 6-inch curb, and it'll go all the way down to Fairfield Avenue. So, you know, we'll see what that does to all the rest of the houses along West Avenue, including the 2 that the Housing Authority owns.
Good.
Okay? Moving right along. We talked about the birdhouse, we talked about the corner at West Avenue. What else have we got in the way of new business? Anything else?
One quick thing, just the financial report. You know, we're at the end of our 11th month for fiscal year, and the numbers came out. They all look fine. We're doing quite well relative to past years and budget. And just want people to know that, you know, we're in good shape financially. And that's my quick report.
Good. Speaking of financially, I did want to, I want to be very careful how I say this, because I don't want anybody to go out of this room misquoting me. There were rumors flying around about a month ago that there was going to be a 19% increase in rents. No decision has been arrived at yet as there will be a rent increase. There's no question about it. with the economy being what it is, with inflation being what it is, all the things that go into making these decisions, it's going to happen. What it will be, we have not determined yet. Under the law, you will get 30 days notice before any increase goes into effect. Before any increase goes into effect, it will be presented to the Housing Authority, and the commissioners will discuss it and debate it and vote on it. And as soon as we have any better information than that, we will give it to you. We're not trying to keep anything hidden. The 19% that got tossed all over the place had to do with what the Connecticut Housing Authority, what Chaffa did with the income levels and how the income levels were raised as a result of what's going on with the economy. And that's where that 19% came in, but that had nothing to do with what actual rent increases are going to be. So as soon as we have better information, we'll make sure that everybody gets it.
And just real quick, my understanding with the rent increases, that it is governed or restricted by the fact that this is affordable housing.
Yes,
But there are guidelines
absolutely.
that I would imagine that the tenants themselves could pull up at some point to see what the guidelines are.
Yes.
Is there?
Yes, Jane, hi, Jane, you having worked in the office should know best. Yeah, we have to follow the law about tax credit.
Right.
And yes, there's public information published every year.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's pretty easy to follow, but it's tough to find. So we'd be glad to help anybody who would like to just sit down and talk about it, or however that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, good.
We put a copy of the income limits and utility allowance, so every time you do your renewal, you will receive a copy of the income limits and utility allowance.
I just didn't want anybody to think there's stuff going on that you're not aware of. When there are decisions being made, you will all be made aware of what those decisions are.
Yes.
We're not trying
Yeah,
to...
we sent out 120 day notice, 90 days, a big window to talk to us.
Okay? Anything else under new business? Have I left anything out? Have I forgotten anything? Anybody else got anything? Questions, comments?
And I just ask a question over here.
Go ahead.
I mentioned this to one of the girls one time, and they said it would be an invasion of privacy, but I wonder if we couldn't have a directory of this building. I've been here for 2 years. I don't know my neighbors. If anyone didn't want to be in it, they would opt out, but just to give the apartments and the names of the people who live there.
We've talked about this. There are some privacy issues with doing this. We have not come up with a suitable plan to gather the information and give people an opportunity to tell us whether they want the information made public or not. We will continue to work on it, but it's something, I'm terrible with names. So I'm here in the building and I run into people a lot, and now I know that person, but what's their name? So it would be very helpful for me to know who's in what apartment.
Right. And if somebody felt that it was an invasion of privacy,
They simply opt out and say, no, I don't want that information.
So,
We're aware of it, we're painfully aware of it, we'll work on it.
okay. Because my memory's not so good.
No, it's just, and it's embarrassing to walk up to, hi, how are you? And have no idea who you're talking to.
Well, we have Tisha now, which is a residence coordinator, so maybe me and her can work a letter to send that to the residents.
Right.
And whoever wants to opt up to be part of that
Right.
letter, then maybe they can sign up for it. Since Tisha's here, maybe she can start helping us with that.
That would be great.
All right, there you go.
Because we had it in the old days.
Yeah, we had it. Yeah, I remember. It was already created for like years ago, and all of you guys already have made the decision to be in that list. Now it's new tenants and a lot of new residents here, so it will have to be a notice sent out to them. Whoever wants to participate, then maybe that list will be created.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Residents associations. Anybody at the Heights have anything you want us that we haven't talked about? Anything going on?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to know what the difference is in the rental charges between the Royal and the Rutland for the washing machines? Why do we pay more than the tenants at the Royal? What are we paying?
Matt?
The difference in the Heights and the Royal?
Yeah.
The height is $50, the Royal is 40.
And I'd like to know why the difference. We have one-bedroom apartments, we're senior citizens, we're on fixed income. What's the difference?
Yeah, well, again, what we're doing at the Royal, you're a Royal resident, right?
No,
She's at the
Heights.
house.
I'm at the Heights.
Oh, Heights resident, okay. So each, are you a returning resident?
No, she's a Heights resident, pays $50 for a washer and dryer.
Oh, these are the washers and dryers?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay. Yes, the washers and dryers are, they're a set fee.
But
I
why?
want to speak of the washers and dryers.
Why is it more? Does it cost more for the
It is
water?
more because that's for family property, so you have more individuals occupying the unit and it's based on water usage. So that is where it's set. That's
But
really.
we live in a one-bedroom apartment.
I think that there's a $10 difference there, but it is what it's set at, and it is also optional.
It is a one-bedroom apartment and there's single people living in them, just like at the Royal.
Yeah, but what Renee is saying is that the fee is set by the average water, what drives the fee is the water usage. It has nothing to do with the
Okay,
equipment
but
itself.
I don't have a two-bedroom and I don't have a family living in my apartment.
I understand. We do not assess a fee for individual apartments. We assess a fee for the average of the usage for the entire project. And in this case, the average for all of the apartments at the Heights comes to $50.
I don't think it's fair. Why should I pay the same price that a family of four
In addition,
is paying for?
I'm sorry, were you speaking?
No, that's okay, Renee.
Okay, in addition, at the Royal, that's an elderly complex. The Heights is not an elderly complex, it is a family complex. So you have differences on properties, and a lot of it's based on the tenant selection plan. So that is how the whole thing comes about. When it comes to the water usage, though, I will tell you that we have not put in an increase from what I'm aware of. I just came on board earlier this year, and I did go back and look, and there has not been an increase in that charge.
Yes, that is correct, Bernadette. I don't think this is the time of the forum, but to your point, ma'am, and to Renee's point, all of the fees will be reviewed, and at that point, why don't we rehash the discussion?
We have.
Yeah, they're going to look at the costs and adjust them accordingly. So at this point,
It has been a discussion which I spoke to you about in a few residents, that they are looking to see in the one bedrooms and the
Right,
other
but that
bedrooms.
was back in April.
Yeah, but it has,
It's July now.
yeah,
And
but
nothing's
it
been
has
done.
been brought up to the board, to everybody and Imagineers, and a decision hasn't been made. But they are looking to make a decision whether the one bedrooms should be adjusted, not based on seniors, it should be adjusted based on one bedrooms,
Right.
2 and 3.
So when will that come up?
When,
for a vote?
yeah, that was done in April, this is July.
I mean, I believe you if you're saying it's being discussed, I absolutely believe you. But then if it started in April, I think it is a reasonable expectation, when will that come up for a vote to the board? Because you're saying that it's 3 months.
I would assume, Matt, Renee, we, the board, will get this at the same time we are discussing the rent increase.
In regards to the rent, we Imagineers and the management company will always speak to the third party share rent company will deal separately in regards to washers and dryers. We are separate from the rent. There's a washer and dryer leasing company and there's us. So I don't want the two things confused.
I'm not trying to confuse the things. I am asking you to investigate what needs to be done to coordinate getting these things done at the same time.
Yep,
Not a problem. We can revisit that at the same time.
Thank you. when we come out with the rent increase, we'll also have resolved the issue of the rental cost for the washer and dryer. The best I can give you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Joe, I just have a question about that.
They coincided together, so it makes sense that they both, you both
Yep.
understand. And again, it's always 120 days out, so
Yep.
we're happy to discuss.
Isn't the cost differential based on the water usage, not the hard cost on the washing machine and dryer?
Yeah, that's correct, but again, what this resident is saying, and rightfully so,
Yeah,
if
I'm agreeing with you.
if you live in a one-bedroom apartment, there should be an expectation that there is not going to be the same kind of usage as you get in a three-bedroom apartment.
I'm agreeing with you, but I don't
Exactly.
think that.
That's not rocket
Yeah,
science.
Exactly, but I don't think that that's what you're,
Well, what Matt is saying is that there's two different organizations. One is Imagineers that administers the project and the rent, and another is the third-party company that we use to supply the appliances, and they have different criteria. We will discuss with them what the current criteria is, what it's going to take to change the criteria. What I'm asking Matt to do, and Renee and Todd, is to coordinate the effort so that the two things, rather than getting two changes at two different times, coordinate it so we get it all at once. Any change we're going to make to the rental of the appliances should be coordinated with the increase we're going to see in rents.
If we can.
it shouldn't take that long.
I don't want to hear somebody say, if we can. I'm saying, make it happen.
Well, nowadays you can't even get a machine, Joe.
I understand. I understand.
And utility costs have gone through the roof.
But I also think that, to Matt's point, and I think they are separate issues. I think that it is, rent increase is governed by what the feds will allow and what, you know, it's a very complicated algorithm that they have to go through, and that's one thing. But the washer dryer, my understanding, is that we have a separate company that we purchase the equipment from, and there's an arrangement there. And it is
Lease.
Yeah, we don't purchase, we lease.
leased,
But,
okay. leased.
I'm not trying to combine the two into one. I'm simply coordinating the announcement of what happens so that we get a single announcement.
I feel like, though, that is kicking the problem down the road to 120 days out, because as Matt said, there has to be 120 days, or approximately, right, Matt? Correct me if I'm wrong, on the rent increase.
We give 120-day notice on increase.
Yeah, so we're kicking this problem 120 days down the road, and it's already been since April. So it would seem to me that if it is a board decision, that the board should be able to, by the next meeting, make a decision as to whether or not, you know, the board's the governing body.
It's a decision.
So it's not a board decision.
The only thing the board can do is go to the company and request a
You
proposal.
don't need to rent a washer and dryer. You don't need to lease one. We have a
Right,
facility
no, I
that
agree,
you.
right, I agree, yeah, no, you don't
Yeah, but
have
I
to.
can't, as chairman of the housing authority, I can't put an item on the agenda saying we're going to, next meeting, we're going to discuss the rental of the washers and dryers. I can do it, and we can discuss it, but it's a meaningless discussion. The only thing I can do is go to the management company and say, contact the company that we're dealing with and ask them for a new proposal. Now, if they give us a new proposal in a week, fine, I'll be happy to discuss it at the next meeting.
Well,
But I'm
Right, I agree
being
with you.
practical.
So
the
then,
cost is probably going to go up.
Well,
It's, as we're discussing,
Yeah, I think this is really part
I
of
mean, as we're discussing, we're trying to keep these costs as low as possible. I hope you all realize what's happening with these machines and the cost of repairing them and replacing them and the cost of utilities around them. I mean,
we're hesitant to kick the sleeping cat.
we're circling I'll leave it at that, and then I'll follow Joe's direction on talking to the vendor.
I,
That's my opinion.
I'm not sitting here saying it is fair. I appreciate the unfairness of it. I'm simply telling you the rules by which we have to play. And, you know, I'll do what I can to push, but I can't break the rules.
No, I don't think anyone's asking you to break the rules. I think, to Matt's point again, I think it sounds to me like what needs to happen, and what Matt is alluding to, is that the cost of everything, as we all know, has gone up tremendously. Matt, I would hope, is doing the very best he can to keep costs down. We want a stable community. Clearly, we want a stable community. That's his goal. So it would seem to me that it is then just a matter of the board asking Matt to get in touch with the company, and, you know, reasonable expectation is that within a month they could get back to us with, you know, yes, we can keep prices steady, or no, we cannot. These are two separate contract agreements. If it's two separate contracts between the Royal and the Heights, these are separate contracts, we understand all that. But it would seem to me that Matt's agreeing with me, for once in our lives, Matt, that, you know, that
We've agreed more than once.
we have more than
Because
once.
one thing, you know, the one thing I would caution, and I understand this has been an ongoing concern about the cost of washers and dryers and so on. But we have a contract with a third-party firm, or Imagineers does, but there's a contract. And I can just tell you from being in business right now, you don't want to go back right now and ask for a requote, because it will guarantee go up, because everyone's looking for every opportunity to raise prices. Costs have gone up, but more importantly, the perception by some companies is that the appetite to pay more is there because of inflation.
Well,
So
I guess
just
the
a little bit
question,
of caution, and if you go back and ask questions, are there other, I'm not the guy doing it, but, you know, ask if there's some other options, types of arrangements that could be considered. But I don't think we want to go back and renegotiate at this point in time. Just saying that from
no, and I agree with you, Peter. I guess
my suppliers and seeing the way that, you know, you get a quote and you say, really? And the price goes up just because you asked, and you made some comment.
I guess two questions then.
We're back to the 1970s. It's terrible.
Yeah, I guess two questions then. Matt would know when the contracts expire, so that we are locked in, obviously, until the contracts expire. And I don't expect you to know the answer this second, but Matt would know when those contracts expire, so that there's no negotiation between now and then. But then it also kicks us back to one of the proposals we made forever ago, is that the tenants should have the right to either purchase the washers and dryers, and then it becomes their expense, and or the tenants would have the right to install their own washers and dryers that have been approved and properly installed by a certified plumber or electrician. So it throws it all right back to where we were.
Well, Jane, look, I think we should, I think at the table this, but then also will include cleaning of the dryer vents, making sure every year we come in to check that the drainage, there's a lot of expenses around it, because if not, you don't own the property, you're renting it.
Right.
We have to make sure that, for insurance purposes and as a property, that so by the end of the day, I don't know if this is going to reap a lot of savings. I just got to tell you that, you know, so I
agree. I would not
cautiously walk into this, because I think that we're going to see a major price increase here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to table this discussion. We could go on all night. We'll look into it. We'll get back to you. We'll certainly have information for you at our next meeting.
Okay.
Whether it'll be what you're looking for, I can't promise, but we will have more information by our next meeting.
Makes sense.
Anything else? Anybody else got anything? In that case, the chair will entertain a motion to, do we have anything for executive session? We do. The chair will entertain a motion to end.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that we went to, I have a couple things on my list for the Heights. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The business center, both here and at the Heights. Last time I was at the business center here, it's not functioning, and I don't believe that the one at the Heights is functioning.
So they're fully open, the computers are working, but we, at the Heights, we're in the process to update our computer system and get it clear up with their technicians to come in and service the computers. Everything over there, the printer is not working right now either. Here, we haven't purchased a printer, so we're gonna purchase a printer here. So the fitness centers, both of the community rooms are open, but they're not fully working. We have the technicians scheduled to come in, I don't have a date yet.
Okay, because they've been down for,
Since COVID.
yeah, so 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get,
I scheduled a ticket already with the technicians, and they haven't get back to me.
Okay, fair enough, okay. It continues to be a problem, and I know we've addressed it, the one-way streets over at the Heights.
Yeah.
We put up the fencing, which was a great beginning stage.
Nobody listens to them. Nobody, they just keep going.
My suggestion would be is that we get a second set of fencing. It would just slow it down a little bit and block it a little bit. The fencing did help.
It seems to,
It's a problem.
it seems to, I live there and I walk there and I drive there with every day. It seems that whoever is parking closer to that area are moving the fence. So either a second fence could probably be an option, or just, we're gonna have to just monitor more. Because it happens more later in the afternoon, if you live by there. So they actually move it more to the sides. Instead of what it is. Because in the morning, I had Diego and the other guy move it closer, so it will be blackish for them going in and out. But it happens more later in the afternoon or nighttime when people are actually moving it.
Yeah.
Because it does help in the daytime. When I'm at the office,
Well, my suggestion is we order a second set of fencing.
I can look into that. Yeah.
So that we have two, then we have, it just blocks it a little bit more. It's not gonna be a perfect solution, but it's gonna be better, you know.
I can look into that.
I got a simpler solution.
Well, I have a couple that.
Get me a name and
I tell that all the time. Snap a picture.
a license number.
Yeah.
We'll fix this situation.
Well, we don't
But
have.
sometimes it's not tenants. Sometimes either visitors or vendors who are doing that.
Get a license plate number, we'll fix it.
Well, we don't have access to license plate numbers, right? We've had this problem before.
Well, he's saying if you're outside, you can shoot a picture of the
Take a
license plate.
picture of yourself.
I'm not gonna, I live right there.
She's
My
there.
car is right there.
I'm not asking
Okay?
you to do anything,
But-
give me the information.
I can't go out, I'm not gonna go out there and take a picture of him. I'm not gonna be a
No, I think what she said, we were looking to either buy an extra fence, you know, and continue monitor. As you know, we've been doing the parking, so I'm getting everybody's plates and everybody's information of the Heights. And we updated our parking agenda or stickers, so I still haven't fully, Kat has been helping me with the update, so I still haven't fully get everybody's update, but once we got more clear update in cars being parked in the property, we'll be able to see exactly who it is. At least we'll be able to target people a little
Well, I
better.
told you, the one.
Yeah.
The one person,
Is it
the
the
worst.
same, is it the same people doing it over and
Yes.
over again?
Yeah.
Yes,
And do they do it at the same time every day?
yes.
Then fine, what time do they
All
do it?
day long. In the morning, he comes in, he goes out. He at the midday, he comes in, he goes out, and they got a van.
It's one person.
One person, really. Well, the white van.
While we're done with the meeting, give me the information.
Tell me who it is.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
Take a picture of the license plate.
Well, I understand what she's saying. She doesn't want to go out there
I got
and be
it.
identified as the person that's reporting this. But if you got the information,
I had a few people's information, which I contacted them, but I will take this other information.
And he doesn't drive slow, and there's kids
Give me the
all
information, I'll
always
fix it.
playing.
After a while, okay. And then just one other thing, the landscaping in front of the monument at the Heights where the children get on the bus.
Yes.
This year we didn't put flowers in front of it, and it looks really awful. It's just all dead
So-
twigs and.
Yeah, so we did switch landscapers. We tried a new company this year, which we were testing it out, and so far things are not going accordingly as we expected. So it was a few changes happened from the previous landscaping before. So as you know, I have gotten a few reports from you guys from the landscapers, and I'm working currently to what I can fix right now. If something is able to change this year with this landscaping company, we will change it. And if not, we're just gonna look forward for next year, getting new bids and getting
We're frustrated too, we're frustrated too, we want flowers there too.
Yeah,
No, and you know what else? I just have one other complaint. smokers.
This is your chance.
Smokers.
And we deal with the smokers too.
How are you dealing with it? She's still smoking in the apartment. The
We-
building reeks of it.
We,
The girl next door to her has to go to the doctor all the time.
we would deal with every person who is smoking in the apartment separately, and we would take legal notice and action separately with each resident who is smoking in the apartment. This is not a discussion we're gonna have here in the meeting. Every person is gonna be dealt separately through legal actions to be taken.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, speaking of
It
smoke,
smells.
we didn't bring it up. The request has been
Yeah.
made. There is apparently an area at the Heights where smokers can go.
Right.
We put an ashtray there, whatever. We do not have a similar area here at the Royal. We will look into it. We're looking at maybe setting aside an area out where the dumpster is to,
But we have to look really into
Wow.
it. We have to look into it.
what?
We will
I
have to.
said that's appropriate.
We will have to look into it, Joe, because I did mention it to Matt and Renee, and for liability purpose, when the snow things happen, so we will look for that request. There are
I
people
didn't say we're
requesting-
doing it. I said we're looking into it.
Yes.
I'm done.
We certainly don't want to allow smoking in the units.
Not
We
a
can't, we
chance.
can't because it's the case.
Not a chance. We catch you smoking in the units, there will be penalties. And I realize it takes forever, but we're operating under some legal restrictions on what we can and can't do and how quickly we can. But that doesn't mean we're ignoring it. We will stay on top of it
Now,
because
I'm living in that
If
building.
Brandon is over this,
It'll be 2 years, a year and a half, and it just stinks from the day I moved in to tonight.
from my perspective as a volunteer fireman, I can't ignore it. The risk to the entire building, to the other tenants is just too much.
Well, I hope not. I hope it's not being ignored, because
not.
nothing's happening. She's still doing
And
it.
also be aware that this is our first board meeting we have here at the Royal. We spent 2 years without having a board meeting here at the Royal because of all the COVID rules and regulations that's been happening. So we just, right now, we're starting to move along where we're hiring new people, we are moving along, opening community rooms, open
Good,
clubhouses.
I'm
And
glad.
we are
This is
taking
good,
more
but-
actions where
Right.
we're able to even move forward when it had to take legal notice for certain tenants, where before we had so many restrictions due to COVID.
Yeah.
But now we're able
Right.
to move forward, so a lot of things were in a stop for the past 2 years due to COVID. And right now, we are able to make more
Right.
better decisions and move along.
It's just, there's rules wherever you go. And there's rules at the Heights. And I'm a person that I follow rules, okay? And I get angry when people just don't follow rules. Why do I have to follow the rules? And the next guy doesn't. He just does whatever he wants. And it's, I don't like that. And especially that he doesn't.
kind of,
Couldn't agree more.
What?
They couldn't agree more because we had to follow.
claims have been heard, they have been submitted to the office, and they will be addressed accordingly. I
Okay.
understand the frustration, I know that there have been other things that have gone on, but as it stands now, rest assured that complaints are being addressed accordingly. If you don't feel they are, then please let me know.
Okay.
And that's Renee, she's my director.
Right.
So if you guys feel like I'm not doing my job, then you guys go to Renee. Right, Renee?
That's what I'm here for.
Anything else?
Nope, that's
In
it.
that case, the chair will entertain a motion to end the public session and move into executive session. There will not be any votes coming out of executive session. So it's not a board